Hi, I'm David Olson, a volunteer with the Vermont Historical Society. I'm here today with a common 19th century hand tool used in farming. This, of course, is a hay fork, sometimes called a pitchfork. The farmer who owned and used this common tool suffered an accident in 1852 in Fletcher, Vermont. That helps illustrate the inherent risk of injury faced by isolated hill farmers. More about that farmer and his horrible accident shortly, but first a brief history of the hay fork. The hay fork or pitchfork typically has a long wooden handle and between 2 and 5 metal tines. The pitchfork was first used in the Middle Ages. The first forks were made entirely of wood. Later on, the tines were made of wrought iron. Today, tines are made of steel. Forks with only a pair of tines are used for bulky materials like hay. Those with 3 to 5 tines, spaced closely together, are used for looser materials such as silage or manure. This hay fork with 2 tines would have been used on a mid-19th century Vermont farm in the field to pitch raked hay on the ground onto a wagon for transport back to the barn. If the barn was a single story, the hay would be pitched from the wagon onto the barn floor or up to a loft above. If the barn had multiple levels, such as a high drive, the wagon would be pulled up to the drive and the hay would be pitched down into the stables or manger. The tines on this tool were most likely wrought by a self-employed village blacksmith. There are no stamping or maker's marks on the iron to identify the maker. However, in 1835, the Lyman Batcheller and Sons forge in Wallingford began mass production of iron hay forks, which became famous throughout America and were later sold under the True Temper brand. Now back to the accident suffered by John Kinsley, the farmer from Fletcher, Vermont. In 1852, John Kinsley, a farmer in Fletcher, Vermont, slipped in the haymow of his barn and fell on this fork. The fork pierced his lower abdomen and became lodged deep in his torso. He was alone in the middle of winter and in the dark. Amazingly, John was able to extract this tool and walk back to his house. Subsequently, the town doctor came and rendered aid. John recovered from his injury and went on to win 2 terms in the Vermont House of Representatives. Neighbors and constituents called him Honest John due to his reputation for fair dealing. A review of the Vermont Historical Gazetteer, published by Abby Hemingway in 1871, lists numerous fatal and near-fatal farming accidents, reflecting the dangers of farming well before the advent of motorized machinery. In an age before telephones, ambulances, and emergency rooms, farmers were largely on their own in responding to medical emergencies. Thank you for watching. To learn more about Vermont's history, visit our website and follow us on social media.